Hey, lovely people. Welcome to I Don't Look Like What I've Been Through with EJayShonte. I am EJayShonte, and today's therapy session is going to be on grief and depression. I picked grief as the first thing I wanted to talk about because it was probably the one thing that hit me the hardest and caused me the biggest amount of depression that I have ever experienced in my life. Growing up, my family didn't do a whole lot of funerals. I don't know if we didn't have a whole lot of people dying or if it was just they didn't allow the kids to go to funerals, but I didn't go to my first funeral till I was a grown up. All our lives we went to like repasses. So like the grown-ups would go to the funerals and then they'd all come back sad and just all depressed, and we just eat. Everybody would eat and they would talk about who passed away. Sometimes I knew who they were talking about, sometimes I didn't, but it didn't affect me any differently because I really didn't know a whole lot about who they were talking about sometimes. The first time I went to a funeral was my brother, and it was horrible. First of all, I hate funerals. Let me put that out there. Okay, I don't know nobody like funerals. I know. But I'm saying I hate funerals. I hate them. I think they make no sense. So forgive me if I'm offending anybody out there, but I don't think funerals make a lot of sense to me. I didn't want to go see my mom in a casket. I like the thought of thinking about my mom the last time we were together. Yes, she was in the hospital, but we were laughing, we were talking, and we were reminiscing, and she was putting on her strong lady face, and she was doing the best that she could to be the best that she could for us, for her kids, so that we weren't sad that she was sick. I think my mom knew she was dying, but she never portrayed that she was dying. She just made it like it was a big old stomach ache. Like, she played it off so well. You wouldn't even believe. Like, I think that's another reason it hit so hard, is because she really had fooled me into thinking that she just had a stomach ache. And the whole time, she was being strong for us. So, I wanted to remember her like that. All I can think about when I think about my mom now is that damn casket. Her laying in that casket. I try not to think about it. It's been 5 years. But when I close my eyes and I try to dredge up a memory of my mom, sometimes that is the first thing that pops up, is her in that casket. I hate funerals. She didn't know I was there. If she did know, she knew I was there by spirit, but she didn't know I was there. So funerals is for the people that's there, not for the one we're saying goodbye to. I said goodbye to my mama after they told me she had passed away. So with that being said, I hate funerals. Anyway, my brother's funeral was the first funeral that we actually had gone to, and it was horrible. Now, I was sad when my brother passed away, but not in a sense that, I didn't feel like we couldn't move on, because I think as we moved past his death, we saw that my mom needed us more than anything. It was more us as siblings banding together to be there for our mom. My mom took my brother's death really bad. So we really was like banding together to be there for her. There were other deaths after my brother. My grandfather passed away. He had cancer. He had throat cancer. And he had throat cancer twice. The second time he got throat cancer, he announced to the family that he wasn't doing chemo. He wasn't doing any more of the therapy. He was done. He was like, it's in God's hand. That was it. So it took about a year for cancer to completely destroy my grandfather, but it was a progressive form of the cancer where it just got bigger and stronger, and he just got weaker and weaker. But in between that time, we got to go over and visit. We got to talk to him. And then even when it got time for us to say goodbye, he was at home and we were able to say goodbye. So I think that helped me through the grieving process. And then on top of that, my grandma was like, I see why my mama was so strong. My grandmama is a rock. She is the strongest lady. I'm telling you, she did that funeral like a champ. Like I would have been falling to pieces. I think they had been married like 40 some years or something like that. They've been married forever. So she handled her business. And then the only other funerals that I had gone to were, was my Uncle Charles. We weren't very close, but it was still, sad. The family was sad. My mom was really sad, not like when my brother died sad, but she was sad. And I actually don't even think she went inside of the funeral home. I think my mom started going inside of funeral homes after my brother passed away. It was kind of hard for her. And then the other death was my father. And I say my father, not my daddy. I knew him, but not really. And I'm going to be real honest with you. It was a grief of, dang, dude gone, more than, oh my God, my daddy died. We didn't have a relationship at all. I did write the eulogy, which was cool that they called me from California and asked me to do it. And I'm not going to lie to you, it was kind of easy because I didn't have that big of a connection with them, but I was honored to be able to write it. But as far as deaths affecting me, yeah, my mom, my granddad, my brother. Oh, and then there was Unique Davis. Now that did affect me as well. She died in a car accident. She was a friend / mentee. I was like her mentor during her high school years, and she had grown to be this big, beautiful adult and with this gorgeous little son. And one day after a club, she was driving. She hit one of those, not a slick spot, but after it rained, hydroplaned. She hydroplaned and hit a tree and the car exploded or something. And that hurt me so bad. And it hurt me even worse because the day I found out that she died, or the day she died, was the same day I was moving to Florida. So I missed her funeral. I missed everything with that. And I was sad about that for a little while. But even with all that had happened before my mother passing away, nothing could prepare me for my mother passing away. That was hard. That was hard. So I thought I would be ready, but I was nowhere near ready. I know people talk to you and rub your back and give you those words of encouragement. That does nothing for your depression. It does nothing. Well, it did nothing for my depression. It was actually making it worse. All I kept asking is, please stop rubbing my damn back. Please stop telling me it's going to be okay. No, it's not. My mama is gone. Lady, sir, it was so hard. And then you have to be polite and you have to be respectful, because I know people are all sad and everybody is just trying to help. What's not helping made me slip into a depression for which I had never experienced ever in my life, and I struggle with every day. I know I didn't handle myself as well as I would have wanted to now that I look back when my mom passed away, but I handled it as I think I handled as much as I could handle. I'll put it that way. I handled as much as I could handle. When that kind of depression comes about, it's one that's hard to even describe. And I'm coming to you about depression because I think those thoughts are the ones that got me the closest to the suicidal thoughts and the I don't want to be here, or I just want to be with my mama kind of feelings. Depression hit me in a way for which it gradually increased over time. And when I talk to you about the mental health issues that I'm going to discuss are always going to be from the perspective from where I'm coming from, or what I felt, or what I experienced. And my hopes is that as I'm talking to you, you are connecting to me on a level for which you understand where I'm coming from, and it helps you talk to someone about what you may have gone through or what you are going through right now. Anyways, my depression gradually increased over time. It was expected the first month or two, so a lot of people allowed that depression to sink even deeper than where I already was. They just left me alone because they knew I was sad about my mom. That is a gateway. It is absolutely a gateway, because when you are isolated like that and you are pondering on what you are going through, you slip so far down. At least I did. Let me stop saying you. I did. I kept slipping. Every day they allowed me to be by myself. Every day I slipped further into depression. It was so hard for me to even get out of bed. I didn't even want to go to the bathroom. No, I promise. Like, I wanted to wear the pen and just sit there and piss in the bed. Just fuck, I don't want to get up. I won't do nothing. Just let me lay here. I didn't eat, and of course you got to put something on your stomach. You got to do this. My stomach was always in knots, and putting something in my mouth did not help me get hungry or feel hungry. It was just a ball of nothing. It was bad. Even after I got to the point to where I was trying to get myself back into society, it was still hard. It was still bad. And I would go months doing really good. I remember, oh my goodness, I think she died May of 2017. And I think the one time that hit me harder than anything was I was at work. And my birthday was coming up. Every year, my mom called and sing happy birthday to me every morning. She cannot sing, but I looked forward to that raggedy ass birthday song every year. So it's about the end of March. I'm sitting at my desk. I'm taking a call. And while I'm on the call, out of nowhere, it jumps in my head that I'm not going to get a birthday call from her this year. I broke down at that office, and I could not get off the floor. Like, I cried. Oh, it blew me because I had been doing just fine. And that thought came out of nowhere, and I was done. I started calling in work more often after that. I really couldn't function. The thoughts were random and they were just all over the place. Eventually, I did get me a psychiatrist and a therapist to start the healing process, because after a year, I was making my whole family miserable. My husband, my children, it was bad. So I got a psychiatrist and a therapist. And because mental health is not talked very much in the mental health community, I went into it thinking that, they're going to think I'm batshit crazy. So I really didn't want to go, because I thought that was the perception. If you needed a psychiatrist or a therapist, is you didn't finally fall off the deep end. But it's not. A psychiatrist and a therapist is probably the most calming and effective, I probably said that wrong, way of getting help that you can possibly start with if you are at that point with your mental health where you are that deep into it. A psychiatrist and a therapist, definitely medication is definitely what you would need to get through this process if you are that far into your mental health issues, because it does get bad, and it doesn't have to be to the extent to where I was unable to get out of bed on a day-to-day basis. But if you are seeing that, you're not you're not feeling you, see someone. Even if you think it's just sadness, okay, maybe you are just sad. Just go just to see if it's just you having a bad time right now, or if you actually, going through bouts of depression. Find out, because it helps if you at least know, and it gives you an upper hand to try to beat it or at least live with it. When I got the phone call from my auntie about my mom passing away, it was about 2:00 in the morning, and something in me broke. And when it broke, I could literally hear it. And from that day forward, it was one push after another to try to get myself to where I at least felt normal enough to get through a day. And I would give myself small goals, like, okay, EJ, today you're going to stay up for 4 hours. Okay, EJ, today you're going to stay up for 8 hours. If I was able to complete those goals, I felt like a winner. But when I did not complete those goals, I felt so bad. I always felt like I was never going to get out of that rabbit hole. But you can. And it's not something that goes away. It's always going to be there. Honestly, I'm always on guard. I'm always watching myself, because I know how emotional I get. So I have to be prepared for for things that, could come my way.